Hey everyone, and welcome to Comics from the Multiverse, the DC Comics podcast from MailFuzz TV. I am Peter, and joining me as always is Matt.
I'm Batman.
Car's here.
I'm not Batman.
No. You're Jason Todd.
Yes, he's just a touch.
You take that back.
Never.
No.
Never. So yes, this is a special episode. This is not a numbered episode. This is our Detective Comics 1000 special, just like we did last year with Action Comics, like we may do for the final Doomsday Clock issue. Maybe.
Maybe.
Playing with it.
It depends when it comes out, I suppose.
It depends when it comes out.
True.
Because I would expect we usually spend an hour on that. I feel like the final issue might end up being at least 90 minutes, and therefore should probably just be its own episode.
Well, it
Yeah,
depends,
and
but
this-
there might be less speculation than usual.
That's true. Well, yeah, but it makes up a
But-
whole new, like...
It might,
Yeah.
We'll wait and see.
Johns
Bye-bye,
Johns likes to go out with a bang, whether it's Infinite Crisis, Blackest Night, whatever big story he's telling. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to have to talk about all the GSA members that came back in the last issue, aren't we?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. It's going to be
And the Legion.
Maybe the Legion. So this is Detective Comics 1000. Is much like the Action Comics 1000 special. I mean, this is a series of stories in here. We'll go through them one by one. The end will pick favourites and so on and so forth. But we'll discuss each story individually, how we feel, and at the end we'll have a bit of a conversation in general about about Batman, and just kind of what he means to us and the importance of the
Oh
character.
boy.
And
This is a celebration, Matt, not a rant.
celebration. Didn't Matt promise someone that he was going to wear a Batman mask? I feel like that was a thing.
Okay, so I don't know if I promised it, but I definitely can't find it in the move. So, yeah.
In fact,
However, I did watch The Dark Knight a couple nights ago, and
well, that's nice.
Yeah.
But I do recall the conditions for me and Connor reading Rick Grayson was that Matt would be wearing a Batman mask for the Detective 1000. So I'm wondering if that voids the deal, and that if me and Connor are owed something.
I don't remember
issues.
this.
We have read 2 issues of Rick Grayson.
Yeah.
This is Tyler's fault. Tyler's supposed to remind him. He was never going to remember. He's or at least he's feigning
Yeah.
ignorance.
No.
You have to be on top of this.
If anybody wants to talk to my family, they'll know I have a shoddy short-term memory. So, yeah. I could go fashion one if you want me to.
No, that's okay. That's okay. We've got important things to be doing. Because last year was Superbad year. This year's the Batch year. And
Yeah.
I'm going
As
to
opposed to what every other year, right? Am I right?
see. This is the beauty of it. I get to rub this in Matt's face all year. It's Batman's year. Although for the record, it is Supergirl's 60th this year as well, and I feel like no one's talking about that. So I mean, that should probably be brought up at some point.
Yeah, it's just because when you're next to 80, it sounds kind of shit, doesn't it?
Yeah, but when Supergirl gets her 80th, it's going to be next to Batman's 100th. So
Yeah, exactly.
She
And
doesn't
that's going
win.
to sound really shit.
she never
Well,
wins.
I know, however many years I will be celebrating that. So,
20 years.
Yeah. I think Wonder Woman's got 80 in about 2 years' time.
Yeah, it must be close.
I think that's 21.
Yeah. Yeah. I suppose the upside is when Batman gets to 120, Supergirl will be on 100th, and 100th is more important than 120.
It is. So in 40 years' time, you have your comeuppance.
Oh yeah, great. If I'm alive in 40 years' time, we'll see.
Yeah, I'm 100%
someone's
sure about that.
optimistic. Good Lord.
Oh dear, we've all got early deaths written all over our faces. So
Excuse me. Did you guys go to the gym right before you started recording? No, because I did. I also ate 5 Girl Scout cookies before, but that's neither here nor there.
Matt, I hear what you have for breakfast, right, on a regular basis. I know what
It's
you're.
on the weekends. That's different. I had a banana for breakfast. All right, hey.
I had 3 chicken burgers for dinner today. Just because
Oh. And then for lunch,
one's
I
not enough.
had a salad. All right. Yeah.
What's the point? That's not going to fill you up.
No, I know, because I realize I need to get back on that train if I want to fit into a bat costume. Right? I mean a Superman costume.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned about that. He was saying just before we started that he's given up. You know, he doesn't want to drink any Mountain Dew, but they're releasing a Game of Thrones themed can of Mountain Dew soon, and he's tempted.
Connor.
And he's a sucker.
Yes.
It's got Arya's list on it, and it appears when it's cold.
Oh, that's cool as shit.
Yeah, see? Connor gets it.
That's what they did with the with one of the, they did a bunch of Game of Thrones whiskies.
Oh, here we go.
One of them was it's called White Walker by Johnny Walker, and if you put the bottle in the freezer, because you're supposed to drink it cold. This way, if you put the bottle in the freezer, it comes up on the side saying "The winter is here."
See, that's cool.
It is cool.
Well, that's before they got to the bloody show. That's for sure.
No.
In a couple weeks.
Well, so winter's just coming in a couple of weeks.
I mean, technically, it was kind of here at the end of the last season, but sure.
Yeah, when was this drink out?
Like a few months ago. Between seasons was my point.
Okay, all right. I assumed it was further back.
No.
All right.
Imagine the damage it would have done to your keyboard if that spilled on it.
It can't have been any worse.
Yes, check out the next television from the Multiverse for the full story in Connor's keyboard being ruined. So, we'll start with Detective Comics 1000, and we'll end with Detective Comics 1000, because it's the only book. You know what I meant? Look, it's an extra... We don't usually record on this day. It's a Thursday. It's weird. It's not normal. Right? It's a weird occasion.
There's no hockey on tonight, so, like... I'm not... Jones and be like, we gotta get done. I gotta watch Fuck. So, like, you're all gonna have to rush this because I know y'all look tired.
Oh yeah, I'm in no rush. We can.
Hey, I got work early in the morning. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
If you want to spend a good 30 minutes on each story, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
So.
I might pass out sat here. It wouldn't be the first time, but you do whatever.
Yes. I think this episode would be more benefit. I think this episode would benefit greatly from Connor passing out halfway through. I feel like people would love that.
I feel like there will be a strong amount of comedy value in that happening.
Yes. So, yes, we start with Batman's Longest Case, written by Scott Snyder and art by Greg Capullo. It is also worth mentioning that the credits are not always at the start of these stories, and there'll be somewhere I will have to go ahead and check later in the issue or later in the story to find them. So just bear with me, folks. So yeah, this is a detective case. Was it just me, or was Capullo's art different here than normal?
Yeah, it wasn't what it has been, but it was still enough that
It depends.
you can tell it's Capullo.
It was a slightly different style. I know Capullo's talked about this before, how he always tries to change his style because he doesn't want to just do one thing. The second page, that double-page spread, that felt really in keeping with his Batman run. But the rest of it was slightly different. A little bit brighter, a little bit cleaner.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe it's the inks, but it's the same inker. It's Clapian.
Even the lines just feel a bit different though, because there's a little thing that was annoying me actually in the art. There's a little thing. His left ear, for some reason, feels just in a bit compared to the right one.
His left or left as you look at it?
Left as you look at it. Sorry, yes. Left from our perspective, like that first splash page where the title is, it's like kind of in a bit, whereas the other ones, like the side of the ears going down the side of the head, right? It's like a perfect line. Whereas
I just took it from how he's standing.
I think it's just the way he's tilted his head.
Yeah, but it happens again a couple of pages later, where he's leaning, where he's like crouched.
Is this Connor in the cross, Pete?
Maybe it is, but like I noticed it like multiple times, and it was bugging me.
No, I see the panel you're looking at. It's the panel after the 2-page spread.
Yes.
That first panel again. It's the way his head's tilted, so it's like slightly onwards. So you're looking onwards towards the ear on this side, which is why it looks straight. Whereas the other side, it's kind of hidden slightly round behind the head, essentially, rather than looking straight onto it.
I think if the ears were taller, I wouldn't have as much of a problem with it.
Yeah, you really hate short ears, don't you?
I do. I hate the short ears. What can I say? And the shadow has his face weird in that panel as well, actually. I feel like there's like this weird lack of definition. So his face looks like it cuts off really weirdly. but whatever. So the story here is that he's been tracking things all around the globe, this case that he's been working through his whole career, going around all these different wacky clues, very Indiana Jones. I'm sure Matt was.
But
enjoying this
it
page.
got Snyder as all hell
It did.
with the explanation of the different glasses, and I was like, if this was in a prose book, I'd be all down because that's the type of stuff I like to read. But in a comic, I was like, all right.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I thought that 2-page layout was a chore to read.
Yeah,
Really?
that's what I was hitting to.
Oh man, I did not get that at all.
It felt like it took that 2-page layout felt like it took almost half the reading time of the whole story. Like it felt like it went on for a while.
I think that was the point. It was a journey. It was all the stuff going on. It wasn't a quick thing. This was over
me, it
a
wasn't-
significant amount of
yeah.
time.
It was just the way that Snyder goes about it, is that he does, a textbook dump.
Yeah, it feels like a clump. It doesn't feel like a journey feels like I'm traveling from place to place. That's just felt like here's everything on a page. I don't know.
I don't know, the way it flowed, panel to panel, location to sequence, worked for me.
What I really loved is the color change. Like it starts red and ends up green. Like that's really cool.
Yeah.
So I just thought it was too wordy, too much of a dump. But so he's finally tracked it down to what he thinks is the last place, the answer to this case the whole time. He's theorizing, who is it? Who's behind this? It couldn't be the Riddler. It couldn't be Mad Hatter. It couldn't be Joker. It couldn't be this. And then he gets into this secret room, and it's a bunch of other superheroes, including Jean, the Hawks, Detective Chimp, and it's like, and the question is like, yeah, basically we're a guild of detectives.
Ralph Dibny.
Quite right.
Yeah. So is that meant to be Sue next
I
to him?
assume so.
Yeah, I'd have thought so. Yeah.
Which that makes me very excited.
Because she can die again.
DC, don't get any ideas, please.
She's praying for the killing, Matt. She's praying for the killing.
So let me just say this. World's Greatest Detective.
Yeah.
Took him his entire career.
Yes. To do something that apparently all these characters have already done.
Now, I'm going to rationalize and play devil's advocate here and say it's because he's so wrapped up with Gotham that this takes,
He always
this
just
is
comes
background.
back to it. It's never
Like,
his focus. Yeah.
Yeah, this is his hobby, if you will. But still, the irony was not lost on me on that. No.
I'm into it as a concept, though. I hope this. I'm sure it will come up again at some point. I think it's been introduced for a reason.
Yeah, and I liked how when they introduce the different sections, and like there's a celestial wing, and then there's a spiral staircase down to the supernatural stuff.
Yeah.
Like this is prime for an anthology series.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just following like a different detective each issue. Who were those in the back? Do you know, at the bookshelf? I couldn't make out who it was meant to be. On the page with all of them there.
It's hard to tell. I can't really.
Yeah, I think it's just people that are in there.
And the Secret Detective Guild, where only these few people have ever solved all these cases.
Yeah.
They're probably some pretty good detectives then.
Yeah. So I like that the question is now back, as we've gotten to see him a bunch lately, whether it's in the Nightmares or in other books that I don't want to spoil that I read from this week. But yeah, there's an appearance.
Yeah.
How many books have you read so far, Matt?
3 or 4. This one took up a good lion's chunk. I would have been almost done if not for this one.
The only other book I've read for this week is Heroes in Crisis, but you'll hear me talk about that in the regular episode at the weekend.
You're ahead of me. I've read just this.
Yeah.
So I had to read Heroes in Crisis. I'd heard.
Yeah.
There was too many big things.
First thing
happening.
I read.
Yeah.
First thing I read.
I had to know.
But yeah, and I like how this ends. It says this is only the beginning, and that's such a Snyder thing, because during his Batman run there were these little teases that you would get to stuff that might happen later. Yeah. So I enjoy that part.
Yeah, I don't know if this is going to come up again in the book he's doing with Capullo, or if this is going to be for other people to pick up on later.
Yeah, considering that the other one is so far outside of continuity.
Yeah.
Last Night on Earth or whatever it's called.
Yeah, it's true.
I doubt
I'm
it.
thinking like with Chimp in there and Tynan being his
Yeah.
pupil, and the
Well,
magic to
and the
harm him.
reintroduction of Slam Bradley too, which that's pretty
Yeah.
cool because that's a character that goes all the way back to Detective Comics, like before Batman.
Yeah.
Like he was there. He was there in, I think, Action as well. So like I like how that tied this back to that.
I can see it being picked up in Justice League at some point as well with Jean and the Hawks.
Or it could never be brought up again, and I wouldn't be that upset about it.
Oh no,
What's wrong with
I
you?
want my
Advanced
I want my anthology
mythology.
series.
I don't know. I feel like between this is not just Snyder, even though Snyder did Court Owls, which is the one I'm thinking of here. I feel like there's only so many times we can do this. Secret things existed forever, and we just didn't know about it until now.
Well,
That's what makes.
I had said. Well, no, see, I've said the same, but about secret organizations in DC.
Mm-hmm.
Like just since the New 52, there's too many, and it seems like Bendis in his action arc, that's his purpose. We're gonna cut these down. So I don't know. Maybe they'll have something similar. All these different secret societies go to war.
Yeah.
This feels a lot more low key than some of the others. It's just hey, let's just hang out and solve some crimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like just dig
Well,
into
mysteries.
the mysteries.
Not just crimes.
Yeah,
but
mysteries. It feels a lot less structured than say the Court of Owls.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm just happy to see Ralph and Sue. Like I turned that page and I was like, who's the old guy? Oh shit, that's the elongated man. Oh shit, that's his wife. So, yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit too Snyder. What can I say?
Of course.
I wasn't in love with it.
Of course not.
Set me off with the wrong footing. So the next story is
This is Kevin Smith.
This is the Kevin Smith
And-
one. Yep.
Yeah.
Kevin Smith, Jim Lee, called
Yeah.
Manufacture for Use.
Yeah, and it's we get all these panels of Batman fighting various villains and yada yada, but Matches Malone is trying to purchase the gun that killed the Waynes. He ultimately gets this, and at the end of the story, he melts down the gun and makes a new Bat logo out of it for his chest. The idea that it'll be used and put to use.
Yeah, not just the logo; it's the plate that goes underneath.
It protects him. The idea that what once shattered his whole life is now protecting him in the same location that his parents were shot.
It got a little dusty as I read this one.
Yeah, this one's sweet.
Yeah. And then I got to the end, I was like, oh, Kevin Smith's gotten way better at writing comics since the last time I read a Kevin Smith comic. Not that there's anything wrong with his comics. They were just very Kevin Smith. And so when I got to the end of this, and I was like, who wrote? Oh, wow. Okay.
By Kevin Smith, you mean imagine Snyder's dialogue times 100.
Yeah. And snappy, and
it's not narration, it's just dialogue and dialogue and dialogue. It's got a flow to it usually. If you like Kevin Smith, it feels like a Kevin Smith thing.
Right. This felt like a 100% true Batman story. And I'd read parts of The Widening Gyre and what was the one that Cacophony, and those are fine. Like they're not bad Batman stories.
I've not actually read those.
Yeah, they don't stand out in my memory, But this one will sit with me for a while.
Yeah,
I loved how it cuts back and forth between. Before you know what's going on, you just see Matches going to this. It's called the Gotham Gift Shop, and basically when the villains discard their zany weapons or just straight up weapons, there's a collecting market for them because of course there is, right? And so Matches goes down there, and as the guy's giving him the tour, we're seeing the different altercations Batman's had with, Mr. Freeze and the Joker and Clayface, and
I like how on a reread you see him being hit by all of those villains in the same location, right? It's that protect him the whole time.
But the one part that really drove it home for me was when Alfred is like, Master Bruce, I said yes to that dinosaur. I even hurt my back.
Yeah, helping
you put it in here. I didn't say anything to the gigantic penny, but keeping this, it's not a good idea for you. And especially, not that I want to get into that, but especially with some of the comments by a certain director this last week.
Oh, Pete's saving that for later. Don't
yeah,
worry.
we'll talk about that later. Don't you worry.
Yeah. So, but the fact like that came in and like just the spirit, like even Alfred's like, that's not a good idea to keep this around.
Even for you, that's maybe hinging on the unhealthy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just the fact it's like, no, I know Alfred, I'm doing something else with it. And then when you find out what it is, and then it's gonna be over his heart, basically, and always with him. I was just like, oh man, God damn it, Kevin Smith, making me get all weepy for Batman.
Oh, it was good. It's also possibly my favorite Jim Lee art in years.
Yeah, because it's very understated for Lee, because Lee has this tendency to overdo things. Like it tends to look okay. Like it never looks bad.
It's shockingly clean.
Yeah.
He was tight on time. He didn't have time to do all the extra lines and squiggles.
Yeah, there was very little cross-hatching.
He had to go through it.
He should just make that his method from now on.
Yeah, this looks good.
We just need him on a deadline that he can't push back.
I haven't enjoyed his art like this since I think Hush. So I really enjoy Hush.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. And that was his reintroduction to DC. So it might have been his full introduction.
Honestly, like I like this one quite a bit. I think the only critique I have about it is not really a critique of this one specifically. It's more just because I feel like in Detective 1000, there's like almost too many stories that find a reason to have all the big villains appear at least once.
Yeah.
And by the time I got later in the book, I was like, okay, right, I get it. A lot of you want to draw every major villain in your little story, but calm down. But it's not necessarily
some of them I feel aren't justified. This one, it definitely is. It's part of the story.
Yeah,
and that's why.
I liked how he worked in Onomatopoeia. His own villain from his Green Arrow run into there. Yeah. Just a little part. Oh, that's a nice little touch. No one else is going to do that one.
Yeah. I never read that, so I didn't get that.
Yeah, well, he's just this villain that he speaks his actions onomatopoeia style.
He is,
and it makes her. It usually whatever artist is working with him draws it out too. So if like onomatopoeia says bang, the sound effect will say bang.
It comes as like an explosion. Yeah.
Yeah, it's super cool. Like
it is.
He's a fun villain that doesn't get used enough. But yeah.
Yeah, no, the second story's pretty good. The third story is called The Legend of Newt Brody. It's Paul Dini writing with Dustin Wynn on the art. This is a story about a terrible henchman. All the villains are complaining. It's like a TV documentary special that they're doing, and they're interviewing all the villains, and they're talking about this Newt Brody guy. It's like, oh, this is terrible. And we hear some stories about how he blew up all the chemicals in Ivy's place, or he let the cop. He fell asleep and let the cops in when Mad Hatter was robbing the bank, or
the world's worst henchman.
Yes.
I love that Condiment King gets an appearance here because they say like some of these guys, some of these henchmen that come in are like these young buds trying to make a name for themselves. Other ones are lifelong losers, and then it shows them with Condiment King as Salt and Pepper, and I was like, oh, this is Dini through and through.
Yeah.
No one to have a good time.
Yeah,
also, no one writes Harley like Dini. Like, I know the Harley solo book, has its fans and whatnot, but he writes the best Harley to me.
Yeah, where's the Cold Snap then, though? For doing, losers for the whole life. I mean, Cold Snap's got to be... Unless he's implying that Cold Snap does become special later in life, in which case I'm waiting for that. Denny, I'm waiting for that epic arc.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Possibly my favorite moment was the moment with the Riddler where he goes, it's this secret code, Batman, and you have to figure it out. And he already does because the henchman gives it right to him. And he's like, you memorize it? He's like, well, no, you gave it to me on a piece of paper and I left it in my pocket. Because Batman's scary. That's why he gave it to him. Like, it's real good. And then what do we find out about Newt Brody?
Yeah, well, the big twist is and you kind of see this coming once it gets to a point where it's like, okay, this is ridiculous. Basically, it's kind of like Matches Malone, except that it's shared by all the Bat family. So there's been times when Babs has been this guy, there's been times when it's Dick, there's been times when it's been Batman. Because it's worth mentioning, every story, it's a different one of them who's like doing the final arrest, the final like saving the day moment. And then the joke at the end is that Damien wants to, because of this documentary, like, okay, we have to retire this character, we can't do him anymore. And then Damien's like, no, I want to do it. I want a turn. It's like I can be Brody Jr. So, yeah. That's fun. And Barb's is all
charming,
like,
isn't it?
oh, he's definitely your kid, Bruce. Is basically her final thing.
Also, just looking through the Kite Man scene,
Mm-hmm.
where Kite Man's all wrapped up in a tree, and Brody has a saw trying to saw him down.
Yeah.
Like, it's just Nguyen's art. I'm usually a fan of. This seemed like it was a little bit messier than normal.
It
It wasn't as tight on the inks.
felt like he was even doing a different style to fit Denny's writing, I think. Because it felt more cartoony for Wynn than I'm used
He's
to.
done work with Denny before, though, hasn't he?
Yeah. Oh, that whole detective run.
Yeah, I think so.
Quite right. Yeah. Because
So
I didn't think this looked like Wynn though, because I went back and checked who the artist was after a few pages.
Yeah.
And I was like, was this definitely Wynn? And it was Wynn.
Because Wynn
Yeah.
did the little Gotham stuff, right?
yeah,
He
that's
did
what I'm
that,
saying.
yeah. This is more in
feels
tone with
much
that.
more like Low Gotham.
Yeah.
That's why I said it was kind of messier, but cartoony is definitely more.
Yeah. It
'cause-
wasn't as
'cause-
tight as usual.
Yeah, because Nguyen can get super moody, and it looks just fantastic. Like his Super Sun covers are some of my favorites. And that's really bright and whatnot. So, but yeah, that was a really fun story. I laughed quite a few times throughout that one.
That was your light-hearted comic relief story, and that's perfectly fine. Next story is called "The Batman's Design" by Warren Ellis writing and Becky Cloonan on the art. I want to say the art here might be the standout art for me so far in the book.
It's great. I think you need to give a shout out to Jordie Bellaire's colours.
Sure, yeah.
The way it
the
transitions
colours
to
really-
greens and then the blues and then the oranges.
Yeah, Georgia Blair having time to colour books still, even though she's writing the hit comic book series Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Keep it moving.
I'm not indulging that one.
Hey Matt, you should read Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. There was a diplomatic community in it this past week.
That's what I'm choosing to indulge now. So.
Have you, Tom Taylor?
What did you say? What did you just say there?
Tom Taylor.
All right.
As we record this, I hope he has survived the haunted cabin.
Yes.
I'm just saying that. Like, oof.
So this story, he's chased this gang of thugs, of criminal masterminds, who have been trying to rob a place into this warehouse. But however, the trick is that he's already booby trapped this warehouse. So this is the idea that he's made, because he's basically, it's almost like he's calling it chess moves as he's hunting them down, and it's
S8.
yeah, it's setting off these little traps in the various crates and stuff in this warehouse. And yeah, but the art's gorgeous. The art's the one that sells this. The art sells this beautifully.
And they're essentially like mecha mercenaries, because they have like these exoskeletons that enhance their strength, and they're all jacked up on like I guess super soldier serum, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
So he has to be crafty. This is not a fist fight scenario for bats.
Yeah, a lot of deep blacks in the inks. The colouring changes quite a bit because it's all sort of blue, but then when the fire starts, everything goes nice and orange, and it looks beautiful. Like everything with the cape and the cowl.
Oh yeah, Cable's great. I'm so mixed in this one because I love the art. The art's fantastic. I kind of hate the writing.
That's usually like Warren Ellis though.
I don't, but even aside from that, before I even knew it was Warren Ellis, because there was stuff I didn't like. You know, him sounding happy that he doesn't have to be gentle about it. Like he's relishing in it, and the calling out the chess move things. I'm like, what's this?
Hold on, let me go back. Is he actually calling them out, or is it narration? No, he's
calling them out.
Yeah.
I'm assuming he's activating them like with his voice, but
I assumed he was telling Alfred, so Alfred was pressing buttons.
Could be here.
So it didn't read weird to me. I thought he was telling someone to press buttons.
Right.
It just felt clunky. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
the art was the strong point. I feel on this one.
Yeah.
And I like Ellis. Ellis is fine. I don't think I've read anything by him that I have disliked, but it's just kind of there, like, story wise.
No, it's voice commands. I was right. There's a panel before he goes in with Batman saying, Alfred, enable the stage, and it's voice commands.
Well, fair enough.
So he's not saying it. I mean, it is voice activated stuff. That's why he's doing it. It just felt weird.
Yeah.
Okay. I quite like this one, but I mean, it was the art that was really doing it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really
else.
like the art.
But I was quite into it. Next one is Return to Crime Alley. This is by Denny O'Neil with the writing and Steve Epton on the art. They hit me with some big artists now.
Yeah, no.
Back to-
And of course, Elizabeth Brighteyes on art.
Yeah, that's what I was
As
talking
always.
about. This
Yeah.
felt like a criminal comic, like Brubaker and Phillips.
It was weird seeing this not written by Brubaker
Yeah.
or someone like that, right? I'm like,
But
this is Denny O'Neil? Like, okay.
Yeah. Well, and that makes sense. Denny O'Neil is like this,
Oh, yeah, no, but generationally, right?
But that's what I'm saying. He writes a type of Batman. I feel like that gave way to Brubaker's style. You
Yes.
know.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
it goes hand in hand. Like
It's
think it's
just
great.
a weird pairing because it was something you never would have seen, even though
no.
the styles complement each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this story, we've got Leslie Tompkins and Batman's talking to her, but we also get these teases of these thugs that are kind of going around with guns, and eventually they come up to them, and Leslie's basically talking to Batman. She's doing kind of the classic, you go too far, you kind of relish this kind of thing. And he ends up beating the living shit out of these thugs when they come up to threaten him, because they're like, oh, is that the real Batman? Oh, let's find out, kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's not a good night because it's the anniversary. They're going to Crime Alley, and he's working through some stuff. You know.
How I always say, we'll kind of say is that we're sick of seeing that moment again with the pearls.
Yes.
But
that done here with the Batman looking down on it.
Yep.
One hell of a panel.
That entire page from where the Batman on the upper corner, the Leslie on the other upper corner.
Yeah.
And then that image, that's a hell of a Wayne's death, if you will.
It is.
So Batman beats them up, and it ends with Leslie screaming Bruce no, and she's saying poor thing, and he's like, hey, do you feel sorry for him? And she's like, no, for you. She feels sorry for Batman.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of one of these like stories looking at Batman's kind of psyche and how like Leslie and I'd say Alfred as well see him as someone who's ill, someone who needs help.
Right, he's hurt. He's still that boy in Crime Alley.
Yeah. So no, I mean it's
but when the fight starts and the colors pop and Batman's just backslapping the dude.
Yeah.
It's after you dare pull a gun on me.
That's essentially Epting doing the Robin meme.
It is.
It is,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
No, again, art's fantastic, and the main criminal, he's got this like skull mask on that looks really good as well.
Yeah, it does.
No, it's just art's fantastic, really simple story, but it works. So there you go. The next story is, I believe, the Christopher Priest one. Yep, Heretic, with Neil Adams, unfortunately, on art.
Yeah.
I don't
That
think it
dude's
was
a
as
legend.
bad as some of his other stuff has been recently.
What's that?
I don't think it was quite as bad as some of his other stuff has been recently.
I think it's all amongst the same, and I feel terrible for saying this, but like I think the art looks bad.
That looks
Here.
bad.
I don't think it looks. I don't think it looks good.
Neil Adams is a legend, and for what he's given us, I mean that Superman versus Muhammad Ali cover is like a work of art, right?
Yeah.
And like all the stuff that he worked on through the Silver Age and into the contemporary, like the late or the early '80s and whatnot. This just, oof.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think it's good. I think it's just less bad than some of the stuff I've seen him do in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Where those stand out to me as being worse.
I also honestly think the story's quite bad here. I think it's a really, I think it's stretching the realms of like logic and believability and everything, every possible sense. And I also think it doesn't flow very well. There's some odd like jolting cuts in this one. Because the whole 2-page spread, like the second page of it, so Bruce is at the crime scene with Gordon as Bruce because there was a Bruce Wayne card on the victim,
Right.
and there was this weird cut to like Batman's with Gordon, and then the next page after this, Bruce says, "Oh, thanks, Dick, for being Batman whilst I was and I'm like, but there wasn't even a single panel with Bruce and Batman. I didn't even realize they were both there at the same time. I assumed that was still Bruce because it felt like he left and came back as Batman.
Yeah, it was definitely an example of why I stopped reading Deathstroke, because a lot of this type of stuff happened.
Yeah.
And this is just in a condensed way. That
I think
said,
it's a lot worse here than it ever was in Deathstroke, because Deathstroke obviously had 20 pages to do this with, and
that's what I mean.
I know if it had that between panels, it always had the cut. Whereas
this it was just between issues.
This literally has a jarring cut in the middle of a 2-page layout. That made me go, wait, what? What's happening? Okay. Didn't flow very well.
But I do like the spirit of the story here, and about how Batman inspires like people and Bruce to a lesser extent as well. I just feel like they just fumbled at every turn.
Yeah, it was just the idea that like he stole his wallet a long time ago, and this gave him a thirst for capitalism. I don't know. I just
but then that thirst for capitalism turned around and made him do good, because he was helping people. He got out of that crime life that he otherwise would have been stuck in if it weren't for Bruce Wayne on his find himself journey. And I like that, and I like how it plays in with the League of Assassins and how Ra's preys on those type of people. Because what's really the difference between Ra's and Bruce? It's just the intent and how they use people. So I like that even Bruce Wayne being there, and this kid coming to America and kind of being inspired that, oh, I can do good too. I like that message.
Yeah. I just thought that was messy and stilted. I thought the art was really bad. It's
clunky. I agree with the sentiments there. It's just a clunky portrayal of it.
Yeah. Wasn't enjoyable to read, I guess, is what I'm ultimately saying.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah. Next story is I Know by Bendis with art by Alex Maleev, and I assume Connor just skipped this one.
Pretty much, I got to the first panel, and went, "That's Maleev," and just again, all right, I'll jump ahead 8 pages.
Damn it! I was hoping he was just gonna get caught up in the art, and then turn the page, and then go, "Damn it, Bendis!"
I just flicked through it and looked at the good Maleev images, and then because I like Maleev, so I was like, I'm sure I know he does a great Batman, so I thought I'll have a quick flick at the art, and then that'll be it.
So this is Penguin and Batman, or Bruce Wayne, right? So Penguin and Bruce Wayne, and they're old age, very old, right? Bruce Wayne's in a wheelchair, Penguin coming up. He's basically just to say to Bruce, "Hey, I knew you were Batman. Like I figured it out a long time ago. I knew." And he's like, Joker would call these meetings, and we get Maleev drawing all the villains, and all of which I like, except maybe his Riddler, who's got these abs for some reason. I don't know why his Riddler has abs, but everything else I like a lot.
Where's his Riddler?
His Riddler. So it's the panel with Joker's back to the camera.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot he had the question mark carved on his chest.
Yeah.
Oh,
I kept looking over him.
It was that time of Riddler.
Yeah. So he's got abs, which I'm just not So yeah. And he basically just deduced, like, who's the one person rich enough, sort of thing, and he started following Bruce and keeping an eye on things, and there's actually a couple of pals in this where he almost outright looks like Danny DeVito. Well, this is clearly inspired by.
I was going to say Maleev is a Batman Returns fan, because there are Penguin bombers in there.
That splash page is Batman Returns, like, except for the suit, right? Like, just the look of it. Yeah. Also,
the Catwoman outfit too.
Yeah. So Penguin came with an army to Wayne Manor. He was going to kill Bruce Wayne and end it right then, but he decided not to, and he realized that the reason why he decided not to is that if there was no Bruce Wayne, if there was no humanity, then that would be Batman without the other half of himself. That would be a Batman who's just Batman and unleashed. And I don't know if I agree with the sentiment. This is obviously the thing where this is Penguin's interpretation of Batman as opposed to like anyone else's interpretation of Batman. So, but he thinks Batman would be more dangerous and might actually start killing them all if there was no like Bruce Wayne to like actually like tie him to humanity. And then it kind of ends with a joke where, you know, Penguin thinks he can't even talk and Bruce Wayne zaps him with the wheelchair. And then he leans in and goes, I knew you knew. The same way I knew what sort of coward you are, yeah. And he gets carried away and Bruce just sort of sits there at his old age going, good visit. There you go.
So, also I felt like this Bruce kind of looked like the Bruce from Batman Beyond.
Yeah. Just
the way that he's dressed and whatnot. And then I like that Bendis gave the verbal tics to Penguin. You get the wep. And it starts as he gets more animated. They start coming more and more. You know, as he starts getting to the crux of a story, they're interjecting. But yeah, I really like this story. When he shocked him with the wheelchair, I let out a good laugh.
How much did you hate all the returns referencing?
I'll be honest, outside of it looking like Daddy DeVito, I never really noticed the rest of it. Because I just don't think
I
about
literally
returns.
skimmed it and looked at the art and caught like 4 things.
I don't notice it because I don't want to think about returns. Because this looks better than returns because it's good art. It just does.
It's not Tim Burton.
Yes, exactly. And you know, so Batman's got a bit of a sense of humor. He's always one step ahead, and I dig that. And the art's gorgeous, and it's very good. One of the best so far. It's a shame Connor has no taste.
Yeah,
I'm good.
All right. Well, next one. It's called The Last Crime in Gotham. This is Jeff Johns with Kelly Jones on the art. So we have, art that isn't to everyone's taste.
I don't like this art at all.
I have to admit, I mean, Kelly Jones can be hit and miss with me. This is definitely more of a miss for me.
It's a big miss.
Wasn't feeling the faces in this at all. They were
and before I read the story, I was like, what did they do to Damian? Like, because I had no context, and then when I was like, oh, well, he's meant to be older. Okay.
Yeah, they've got a daughter now.
That's fine.
Yeah, Bruce and Selena are old, and it's a whole thing.
Full on Ace. That's got to be Ace, like, number 4, right? Like...
So they've got a crime. They've got all these 12 dead bodies, and they're theorizing this is it the holiday killer, right? I'm like, oh, it's a nice little call back to.
That's how Halloween. I went to. Knowing this was John's, I was like, oh snap, he's doing Birthday Boy.
Right, okay. I see.
Right.
I see it.
And then I was disappointed because I thought I'd figured out.
Yeah.
That was close.
Because they really like Calendar Man. They really again they're like, oh wait, it can't be the holiday killer because Falcone's been dead, as is Harvey Dent and Gilda. Like all these people are dead. And then it's like it turns out to be the son of the Joker, and it's like Joker number 2 like leaves him a note, and it's a whole thing. And Batman decides to smash the signal, and that's it. We're done. Like all of it. But it turns out all of this is just in his head. This is him making his wish with his birthday cake that Alfred's given him. This is him dreaming of a better life in the future. And he blows out the candles. Connor's been oddly quiet throughout this. Did you enjoy this?
No. This might be my least favourite Jeff Johns thing I've read in a long time.
I was going to say ever.
Maybe. I don't know. It's down there.
Yeah, his Action Comic story last year was definitely better.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Yeah.
Had a good artist with him on that one, though.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah, this was a little bit too much. Like,
I can't picture Bruce imagining this. I can't visualize him having a daydream about this.
Well, about the Joker Jr. committing suicide, so there's no more crime left in Gotham. Like, that's dark even by Bruce.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, moving on to the next story, because obviously more interesting. The Precedent, which is James Tynion IV with Alvaro Martinez on the art, and this is basically back when they first have Dick around, right? Dick's been there for just a short amount of time, and Bruce is worried that this
First time they got Dick.
Yes. this is Bruce worrying that he's setting a precedent by letting him become Robin and letting him do this, and Alfred's like, no, but hey, like you went on this dark path, and you gave everything yourself. Maybe this can be different, and this can be lighter, and this can be better. And we get that page with Robin, with Wally and Roy and Starfire, and all the Titans.
This is so tragic
Who are dead.
because
Yes, they're all dead
all
now.
three of those characters are not around.
Yeah.
And you can say all you want about Rick. That's not Dick Grayson. He can go,
Yeah. And
Yeah.
we would see him as Nightwing, and the idea that Alfred's not
Yeah.
predicting this, but he's just suggesting that maybe this will go better. He'll be a hero in the light. And
I love this story in that it's going, screw Bruce. We don't care. Bruce is 80. This is Batman and the legacy and how he's basically going.
well,
Dick's
that's
a better
to me,
Batman than Bruce ever was.
but this is the thing. I don't think that's what he's saying really.
No.
What he's saying is that Batman's is about as much as the legacy as it is about Batman himself, and this is a story about that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Just being facetious.
and that it's almost like Dick chose them as much as they chose him, and they're kindred spirits in that way, and yeah, I really liked it, and I knew that Tynion was a Tim guy. Like we all knew that from his tech run.
Yeah.
And stuff. But so to see him put some
No one's
spotlight
perfect.
on Dick Grayson though, and touch on all of these, and it made me miss him writing Detective Comics. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, and
I like Justice League Dark, but
I like when Dick brings up, hey, when you put on that cape and started doing this, you're going to inspire more people. You've changed how things are, and people feel like they can do things. So there will be more, and you know what? We'll deal with that.
I love how they have an actual swearing in ceremony as Robin in candlelight. I'm like, this is great.
That's not the first time I've seen that. I'm sure it's not.
Oh, fair enough. I don't know if I've ever seen that.
no, I feel like this is an image that's from. It's Bueno's version of this.
I'm fairly
Fair enough.
certain I've seen Batgirl sworn in as well.
Really?
I think so. I'm fairly certain I've seen this image of Batgirl.
I don't
Yeah.
doubt it. I'm just saying I've not come across it much enough that it's stuck in my memory. Clearly.
That's fair, but yeah, no, that's what was delightful. It was speaking about the legacy, and I thought it was a really solid story. It felt like it had a good, something to say in its few pages, and it nailed that.
Yeah, it's quite a short one. This.
Yeah. Next one is Tom King writing with Tony S. Daniel and Joel Jones on the art. It's called Batman's Greatest Case. I thought it was weird how there was like Batman's Longest Case and then Batman's Greatest Case, like both in the book. But
Yeah.
So Bruce is going to the cemetery, but most of the issue, or most of the story, is cutting back to all the Bat family on a roof somewhere, who are waiting for Batman to show up, and they're not sure why they've been called here, so they're debating this between themselves. And you have everyone here, and it's basically an issue of fun banter and speculation as to why they're all there and what's going on. Of course, I do enjoy them all thinking that Jason's getting kicked out of the family, and that's why they're there. That's
part of the issue.
Dick and Damien's dialogues back and forth is pretty good. I did.
Oh my god, you're like the 12th greatest detective. That killed me.
It was 11th until he brought up Ace. He's like, "Oh wait, we're including Ace. In that case, you're the 12th greatest detective."
Yeah. And then Babs telling him just like, let it go, and Dick's like, I was Batman though. Like, so shit's not giving me any respect.
Yeah. No, I like when she makes fun of him for that. So, every time this comes up, I was Batman. It always comes up, I was Batman.
Oh.
He's like, I was
It's
Batman.
just, oh
though.
my god. Yeah.
That stuff was good. I thought some of the other banter though between other characters was a little bit off here and there. Like I thought Babs and Kate felt a bit weird.
Yeah. Well, because it bounces at him like with the art, because I'm assuming that's Jones on the Dark Rainy pictures or pictures panels.
Yeah.
And it's Daniel on the rest of it.
Also, I hated Stephanie Brown's dialogue in this.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I hate
I'm
it.
not gonna lie, I hate a lot of this because no, bear with me.
Yeah.
I liked it at first when it was Dick and Damien. I thought, oh, this is real good. And then as it went on, everyone sounded the goddamn same. They all had the exact same banter. And
Yeah, that's what I was gonna bring up. That with that art is I wish that we had gotten more who was speaking.
Yeah,
You know?
because when you go to the 2-page spread where Bruce is in the cemetery and it's just all these white boxes, you don't.
Yeah.
There's some that's obvious because if it's, let's say I was Batman,
Yeah.
you know it's Dick, or if it's
Right.
Babs saying, "See, I told you I dated Dick Grayson," you know it's Babs. But other than that, most of it's like this. This could be any of the characters speaking.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
because individually
gotcha.
they're all fine bits of dialogue, but when these are all supposed to be different characters,
Yeah.
it loses all meaning.
But that's
But I do like
Steph's basically only panel in this is she's talking to Tim and it's just her asking to make out. That is her entire and I complain that the biggest complaint I have about Tynan's detective run is that Steph's just Tim's girlfriend and that's all she is. She has nothing on her own. And this panel resorts her just to being I want to kiss Tim. That's all she is in this
To be
story.
fair, at least I dispute that a little bit in Detective because the stuff when Tim was gone, she had all the stuff with Anarchy. A lot of her motivation was fallout of grief from Tim, but it was still her plot. She was doing
also
things.
her and Cassandra. They had some real good stuff too. You know,
She got
But I get where you're
shafted.
coming
She
from.
got shafted.
You're not
That's it.
entirely wrong.
No,
you know.
but this here I'll definitely give you. This was shite.
Yeah. But I will say that I loved how it felt like a family meeting, like a family gathering where there's all these little cliques going on, and like Batwoman goes to Cassandra and is like, "You're quiet. I like you." You know, like there's all
Huntress.
these.
It was Huntress.
Oh, it's Huntress. That's right.
Yeah.
It's Huntress telling her.
But
you know,
who cares? Because they all sound the same. So it could have been Batwoman.
Well, no, you see her in the panel.
Yeah, I know. I know. I'm just being facetious.
Yeah, so the whole thing is he's there to get a photograph. Batman shows up and he's like, "All right, everyone say cheese," and it's a 2-page spread of them all together, and then he leaves that photo his parents' graves because it's the night before the anniversary of the deaths.
and that's because that's his family. That's the family they gave him.
Yeah,
And that's how I read it.
that's the sentiment's fine. I actually quite like the sentiment. Although I do think it's weird that again there's this similarity with another story where that's 2 stories now where it's the anniversary of the death.
Yeah.
Do you know why I'll let it slide?
Mm-hmm.
Because the whole point of this is it's Batman's birthday, right?
Yeah.
And if Batman had a birthday, it's when the Waynes are shot.
Right.
Okay, sure. I would just like I would have liked maybe some correlation between the editors to say, hey, don't focus on this because there are other writers doing that.
I'm not going to argue with you too much. I get it.
But hey, so there's some pin-ups after that. One by Janin. That looks really
That's cool.
nice. It's actually
Fabric.
it's basically
Go ahead.
war jokes and riddles, but Riddler's got like more of a traditional like onesie.
I wonder if this was a cover that wasn't used.
Maybe.
You know.
It's got a 2019 signature on it.
Oh yeah.
That's
fair
maybe
enough.
not then.
Probably not.
Fair enough.
Um,
Fabric's got a big spread with tons of characters on it.
I feel like he outdid himself here because we were talking about how Lee can sometimes look too busy. I didn't think with this. This I think is the perfect amount for this kind of piece.
Barring the insane amount of abs on Batman, I would agree.
He does crunches. What do you want?
That's crutches. I mean, I liked that all the Robins were kind of grouped together. And then you had all the Batgirls and. Although for some reason Duke's with the Batgirls and Huntress, that feels a bit weird. Which he should probably be
I
with the
think
Robins.
it's more they're the other ones. Is probably why he's over there.
That's a shame because I feel like Steph and Cash should be getting a bit more.
Yeah.
Well,
like Catwoman's front and center.
I like that because it's like she's because the right side is all villains, so I like that she's kind of in the middle.
The bridge,
on
yeah.
the border.
So that makes sense.
I wish Clayface had been more in the middle.
Yeah, underneath Catwoman maybe, right above the Bat logo. Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, I think no one else is going to remember that he was ever more of a hero at some point. He's probably just going to be a villain now for the rest of his days.
It's a shame, isn't it?
Yeah. Then you get a page with Amanda Connor and Paul Mounts, which is the Waynes kind of dying in the stars as Batman on the gargoyle.
The pearls again.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the pearls are a constellation now. There's a constellation in the sky. It's the Martha constellation in the sky. It's the pearls.
Yeah. It's a great image, though, isn't it?
Is this before or after she relocated to Smallville to start again?
We'll get there, Matt.
Yeah, we're getting there. Hold your load. Oh my.
Oh, I can't.
Matt has no stamina. Matt is. Matt, as we're getting ready to shoot the metaphorical porn, and it's like, all right, we're about to roll cameras, and Matt's like, sorry,
Done.
done. Lights, camera. Oh, I'm done, guys. Sorry. Damn it.
I guess later then, when we actually get to that conversation, that makes you the fluffer, Pete.
Whoa. No. I ain't no fluffer. How dare you? How dare you?
He loves dick and he's the fluffer. What can we say?
It's good to know even this celebratory episode we're as juvenile as ever.
Yes.
Nope. Oh, why be not us?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. So then the final story comes, and obviously we're waiting for the Tomasi one because we know there's a Tomasi one coming up.
Yeah.
So this is it. And what I thought was odd about this is that last year there was one of the stories. I think it was in fact it was the Tomasi one.
It was Tomasi.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was with Gleason.
It was the Tomasi and Gleason one, where it was like each page was a splash page, and it just had some sort of like, I don't want to say it was bad, but the actual narration boxes were basically just like or in that case, a Superman poem essentially that was being relayed through like 8 pages of splashes.
There was no flow in the art. It was just here's some pretty pictures.
Which was fine enough at the time. I do think it's weird though that this year on Detective Comics 1000 that the story that's basically akin to the Bendis story last year that's actually setting up plot is that weird just all splash pages story.
Yeah.
I don't think this should be. I mean, I said with the Bendis thing last year. I don't think it should have been in the issue because I was like, oh, no, it's the celebration thing. Just don't bother.
No, I disagree. I like that it's there, but that's a debate for.
I know.
Well, I feel like
even
Tomasi.
Even aside from that, though, I think this one is extra pointless because it's not a story. It's just here's some splashes and Arkham Knight's there.
And the sad truth is I think because Bendis was about to start a run on Superman, and because it was a big deal that he was coming over, it felt a bit more special that he had this story in Action 1000, that it was like setting up what he was going to do. This, it just kind of feels like...
And it was...
We've already had an arc.
The Bendis stuff was kind of small.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So you know how
Like
we've
this...
not been really feeling this last arc of Detective?
Yeah.
This final page where it's Batman, bad man, I might be out.
That was terrible. That dialogue in the last page is absolute garbage.
I'll say it, I hated this story.
Mm-hmm.
It was tedious.
Yeah,
like I didn't even read all the word boxes by the end of it.
Yeah,
I was just skimming and looking at
No,
it.
I was too in the middle, and then I got to the final page of, this is Arkham Knight, I should read this one, and then it was the worst dialogue I've ever read.
Do you know the thing is that, after a page or two, I realised I was probably in the last story. I was like, okay, this must be the one setting up Arkham Knight. So I knew it was him narrating it like the whole time, and I was reading it, and it was hard to stay focused on it because it was just like him monologuing about who Batman is for a long time. It was a lot of fluff. It was just fluff. And again, this was like, that's drawn with every villain, right? This was, we're doing this again. We get to the last page, and it basically says, when you hear Batman, what do you hear? You hear bad man. Batman,
Dude,
bad man.
That's what the Pete Holmes comedy shorts about Batman were called.
This was terrible, and I'm just going to put it out there. Mankey's not as good as Gleason.
Sure.
No.
Yeah, sure. He's still good, but he's not.
He's good. He's good, and he's excellent at sequential storytelling. But
I
the
like
splash
a good
pages aren't
majority
all. I need 8 of these splash pages.
of these. Like I think the one with Catwoman and Ivy looks super cool, just because of.
That one's got a nice design to it. It's got a nice layout.
And then him versus Bane, I think looks awesome too.
No, the pages look good. Like there's no debating that, really. I don't think. I mean, I just.
But it's the content on them. I don't.
Like, why isn't this a story? Why isn't this like, there's a shadowy figure and he's setting something up, and like at the end it reveals that it's the Arkham Knight, and he says and he essentially gives kind of the same sentiment, although take out the bad man crap because that's
awful.
It's just awful. Yeah, I don't know. I was rolling my eyes as I read this last page.
Well, I laughed at that. It was comically bad.
You take that and it's the same. Like you take out the Batman stuff. This is Murphy's White Knight.
See when it got to the end of this, right? Because I was like cautiously kind of, all right, now this Arkham Knight stuff might be fun, and maybe it still will be. Maybe this is just a bad, first impression and standout of it. But like, this has left me just actively not because obviously we didn't like the back half of that first arc. We kind of hated how it ended, and I was feeling kind of down about Detective because of that. But Detective 1000's coming up. Maybe the next arc will be good. This last page, this last story, but especially the last page, has made me actively not look forward to Detective.
It's honestly left me in a place where I don't know if I want to read the next issue.
Yeah. Well, I after this I took it off my physical pull. Like I'll still read this digitally, but I'm running out of room, and if it's going to keep double shipping, I don't have that much room.
Yeah, which is worth mentioning. Worth mentioning because this is double shipping and Action is not. Detective will overtake Action.
Yeah, but I don't like that.
Although to be fair, Matt, Detective did start first, so it should actually be ahead.
Yeah, Action went weekly for a while, didn't it?
Yeah, Action actually snuck ahead when it shouldn't have. So I guess it's rating the it's correct.
Well, maybe that's what they're gonna do until it's where it should be. Right?
Maybe because what's interesting is if it keeps double shipping, there will be a month where they both have the same issue number eventually.
It
won't be too far.
Yeah, it won't be too far.
But Action's only at what 1006 or so?
7.
Yeah. So yeah, give
Is
it
that
a
right? That's what that came out today.
I think it's later this year. Yeah, I think it'll be.
Oh, it's 9. Wow.
Yeah.
Is that not okay? That's more than I thought. I'll be honest.
It's probably early next year. They'll have a month where they have the same issue.
Yeah.
But it's interesting.
Tomasi's done so much good with like not just Batman but Damian and the family and stuff.
Oh, by the way,
that I just.
If you didn't guess this was a Tomasi story by then, one of the splash pages is Nobody.
Or No One.
Or No One. Yeah, Nobody. Was it?
Whatever their name is.
Nowhere. Yeah. That one. I'm like, oh, this is definitely a Tomasi story because he's putting his villain in there.
Yeah.
On the same on the same sort of pedestal as like Mr. Freeze and Man Bat and
hey, to be
Two-Face
fair,
and
Kevin Smith did the exact same thing.
Yeah, but
it wasn't.
I didn't even notice it though.
I have the feeling that since it's already been seeded in the last couple issues, right, that they addressed his death by Damian when they went to find Ducard, right, in the mythology story.
So he's Arkham Knight, is what you're saying.
I'm not saying it's Arkham Knight, but I wouldn't be surprised if he has something to do with this.
Yeah. And that does not excite me. The fact that this might be him in any capacity is not exciting to me.
I just feel like I'm being incepted here, But yeah,
because I sadly have to say I think Action 1000 was much better overall than Detective 1000. I like more of the stories. I think there's a couple of real standout stories in there. There was only one or two that I was kind of meh on. This one I felt like there was a couple that I really liked. There was a couple that were okay. There was some that I didn't like, and this last one. I think this one, the Priest one, and maybe the Johns one. Surprisingly, like I just there's a whole handful of them.
It's a mixed bag of an issue, isn't it? Annoyingly.
It's very mixed bag. It was a shame. And then King's was kind of murky as well. Like, see, that's me listed 4 that I wasn't really that into.
Do you know what? I thought, I'm going to be shitty negative on King, and I'm going to have to be, I'm going to be that guy again. So it was weird. Okay, I'm not the only one feeling that way. I mean, almost I feel a bit better about it. That I wasn't.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm the most positive about this. But it could be because I'm going on vacation, too. So, just in a better frame of mind.
Lock it in. Matt enjoyed Detective Comics 1000 more than Action Comics 1000.
That's not true.
That's what he just said.
Don't you be putting that in people's minds.
I was actually Matt has this front. He likes to play the character on the show because he feels we need balance. But honestly, minutes before we started today, he said something along the lines of, Batman's so cool, Superman's so lame. I can't believe I have to pretend to like him so much.
It's true.
Audio people, the glare I'm getting right now from Matt is basically cutting into my heart.
Yeah, if I had heat vision, I'd have no computer screen right now.
Yes.
Like,
oh dear. Well, I mean, Carr somehow managed to do that to his keyboard last night without having heat vision. So
damn you, Arrow.
Oh dear. Yeah, I guess.
And then what happened to your keyboard though?
It's dead. I got to do. I had to.
No, I know. You were saying damn you, Arrow, but I was like, what does that have to do with your keyboard? Because you're just gonna say that anyways.
It's Arrow's fault.
Yes, Arrow made him spill his drink all over his keyboard.
Oh, I know, but the point I was making is he would yell "damn you, Arrow" if his keyboard was
Trust
fine
me,
or not.
trust me.
I'm with it. Any excuse.
This
Yeah, okay.
week's Arrow
Yeah.
was special. I encourage everyone to check out Television with the Multiverse when it goes
So-
up.
Everyone knows I drink a lot when it gets to Arrow.
You sound like my dad.
yeah,
Everyone knows I drink. You know, it's like my thing.
yeah. When it comes to Arrow, that's what I have to do. This episode, maybe at the end, I'd finished. I thought, okay, we're done now. I don't need to have anything poured. I had to just grab the bottle and just start necking whiskey from the bottle because
the final scene.
it was atrocious.
Is it that much bloodlust?
Oh, God.
Worse.
Worse.
Wow.
I was just saying, anyone who's a fan of Emmy, don't watch Arrow. You're going to be upset. So, yes. So yeah, I think we'll do our favorites before we get to just a general Batman chat. So, what was that was just the favorites. That was just the favorites. Maybe best art as well. What was your favorite story, Matt?
Oh, mine was
Oh.
Kevin Smith.
Fix your mic, and then
He said Kevin Smith.
said Kevin Smith. Okay.
Yeah.
That one hit me right into that chest plate.
Yeah, that's fair, Connor.
I'm just looking to see if there's any I like more than the Kevin Smith one, but I don't think there is. Because that one was kind of fantastic. Yeah, Kevin Smith.
For me, it's actually between the Bendis one and the Tynan one.
That's a close second, the Tynan one.
Yeah. I think I like the art. I mean, Alvaro was great on the art, but I do think the art's better in the Bendis one because it's Malieve. Like the art, I think that and the Clunin art. Those are the two arts for me that really stuck out in this issue.
That's fair.
But I'll give them best art. I'll give them joint best art because I'm not picking. But best story, I'll go to the Precedent. I like that a lot.
Okay. On art, if you pick two, I'm picking two because
Sure.
screw it. I'm gonna go with Clunan, even though I didn't like that story. I really like that art, and I'm going with Epting, because hell yeah.
As you do. No, Epton was great. But it wasn't necessarily the like it was great when I was reading it, but I'm like, I've seen better Epting. You know, like I had like better Epting in my head.
All of the mood I love from Epting with all the cold blues and the colors from Broweiser, and then when it gets into the fight and all the backgrounds, the momentum that's in there, and again the oranges coming in.
It's a lot of good art in the book. I can't. This is some really bad art as well. A couple of stories, but Matt, what you?
It's Malieve.
Yeah.
Because if Mario finds out I picked anything else and I see him,
You will get punched. Yeah.
it's gonna be a fight, and I'd rather not fight him. So.
Oh dear.
I imagined him going to the shop and, out of being such a big Bendis Malieve fan, having to buy this and just being so irritated.
Do you think he'd have been annoyed if he'd bought it and then found out afterwards that they put that story up online like 2 months ago anyway?
Did they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did the same thing
shoot.
last year with Tom King's action story.
Yeah, I knew the Tom King one. I
Yeah.
didn't know they had done that with.
Yeah, they
Same,
do.
same,
Oh
same
crap! Well, maybe he just got it that way then.
thing. Yeah. Unfortunately, if I'm rating the whole issue, which is a really hard thing to do because it's like
Yeah.
it's just an anthology book. Like, I think action last year, I don't remember what I said on the video, but just remembering it now, that was probably like an 8.5, maybe a 9, because it was stocked with really good stuff.
And it was consistent. This is a roller coaster.
For the most
This
part,
is-
yeah.
There's like one thing in action that wasn't too great, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. This one, I think overall it's like a 6.5, because there's just too many that drag it down to go higher than that, unfortunately.
Yeah, you might be right.
It's a shame. I didn't love it. So a couple of really good ones, don't get me wrong, but there was a couple of turds that were kind of expected or not expected, and there was a couple where I like parts of this Tom King one. I like parts of this. I almost said Tom Taylor there. Yeah, why is that? Why no Tom Taylor story in this?
That would have made this better.
Yes, Tom Taylor
Yeah.
story, please.
Imagine that Tom Taylor story from the annual being in this one,
Oh,
and it would be so
shit.
different from anything that was there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that was about Bruce looking after Alfred for once. So
So much like we did last year, we should spend some time just talking about Batman and the importance of Batman and our, I guess, kind of just feelings on on the bat. Matt's Matt's clearly
But
excited
I
about
can
this.
feel when you said the importance of Batman,
Yeah.
Matt's there going, there isn't any. Let him burn.
Well, without Batman, we don't have Dick Grayson, and Dick Grayson's one of my top 3 characters. So, you know,
There you go.
It's a necessity, is what you're saying.
yeah. No, I put up this big front, and yes, a lot of Batman fandom annoys me, you know. But at the same time, I've never not read Batman. There's been times I haven't read Superman because of a certain writer that will remain nameless. But yeah, so, and I'm enjoying a lot of what's coming out right now through the Bat, prism, I guess you can say. So it's hard for me to be overly critical on that character. Talk to me 3 years ago, and it's all like, let's burn it down, right? Overrated.
Every time we got to Batman Day in September or whatever it is. Oh God, the rants.
Yes. I like Batman's a character who's like went through very many incarnations, and he survived a lot of bad versions, and obviously just like Superman, a lot of what he is now evolved over the years. He wasn't exactly Batman as we knew him as soon as he was created, right?
A lot closer than Superman was, though.
Closer, yeah, sure, but the idea that he shouldn't kill, that he wouldn't do that. That's something that sort of came in over time. Something that
to
people
define him.
something that people who love to argue, when you're arguing about movies where he's killing, like say Batman v Superman, they'll say, "Oh, he killed in the comics." So go read stuff from the 30s and 40s. I'm like, well, yeah, but
well, and those people
Things
always
changed.
seem to lack context because they would do the same for Superman.
yeah,
They would bring up this really obscure John Byrne story about, Superman becoming an executioner, but they don't ever talk about the fallout from that. They were just talking about, it happened, so you guys need to stop complaining.
yes. By the way, just because
know.
there's a precedent for something does not mean it's okay to do it
Exactly.
again. Just
No.
for the record, that's just,
Are you saying that Bruce shouldn't have gone to all the other Robins after Dick?
I'm not saying you shouldn't either. I'm saying you have to read what it was. But just because someone did it once doesn't mean that you get to do it all the time.
Yeah.
It's that simple. It's that simple. I know you're being facetious, but it's that simple. Like Batman, because it's funny because there's nothing to say that you couldn't do a lot of the great stories that you do with Batman with other characters, because you could do it with other types and arguably Daredevil has some great Batman stories.
I think you mean that Batman has some good Daredevil stories. I threw that in there for Tim, because if I
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah, Tim does love Daredevil. But what makes him so enduring? What makes him so popular amongst people? And like, I think the joke's always been that Batman's superpowers that he's most writers' favorite character, and maybe there's some truth to that extent. But how did he become most writers' favorite character? There has to be a cause of that.
Well,
Causes that Adam West is a hero.
well, as long as Batman's been around, he's had a pop culture presence. I mean, there was the serial in the 40s.
Yeah.
And then up through, the 60s with the Adam West show, and then I'm trying to think what else in between. But he's always had a presence. I mean, my first Halloween costume, I think, was a Batman Halloween costume my aunt made me based off of the Adam West version. So
Underrated version.
yeah, that's so cool. But there's a reason why, and I'll even admit why he's lasted so long and why he's so many people's favorite. If you can't talk about it at depth, though, I have to shut down the conversation, because if I had a guy tell me one time that you take Superman powers away, he's just a reporter. Take Spider-Man's powers away, he's just a photographer. You take Batman's powers away, and he's just a martial artist and a billionaire and a this and a that. And I was just like, well, now you're
So what you're saying is it's the joke from the first Avengers movie?
Yeah.
Where to Iron Man's like, hey, take all that tech away, and what are you?
Right. Well, and then I said, well, that doesn't make him an interesting character. Just because he can name all this stuff, and we got this big debate over because Batman, which it's the thing that I think annoys me the most in comics, is when there's a story that doesn't have to do it, and it does it anyways. It's lazy writing.
Yeah. Batman's a weird one for me in that, obviously, I pretty much always read Batman. Is always there because no getting away from it, is there?
Yeah.
mostly I enjoy it. I don't have any problem with her in it, but it's never been my favorite character. It's obviously he's important. Part of the reason that we have comics in the way they are today, for sure.
Huh?
But it's never been like, oh, that's my favorite thing to read.
Yeah.
I mean, Batman was the character that got me into comics. I started reading comics because of Batman Begins. I started with him, branched out to Superman, then branched out
Fake nerd.
elsewhere.
Speaking of, we should mention, Pete, that me and you reviewed a bunch of the movies this month.
I was going to get there because we reviewed the 7 main movies essentially. We did the two Burton, 2 Schumacher, and then the 3 Nolan films. And watching those 3 Nolan films again, having not seen them for a few years now, they hold up like nobody's business. And even other great superhero movies don't have as much subtext and things to say as those movies do. And I think it's one of the reasons why they hold up as great movies. Not only do they treat Batman with reverence and get so much of the character right, maybe not 100%, but there's so much. And then you combine that with the fact that the movies actually have something to say, that they're actually films, to sound pretentious for a second, that they actually have a meaning behind each one. They each have themes. Me and Connor went for over an hour on each of them. In fact, hell, I think Dark Knight was 100 minutes we went talking about that, and talking about
that one's the best one.
Ideologies.
It's easy to do.
And talking
Dark
about
Knight,
that.
yeah, hour 40 we went on Dark Knight.
Yeah, and then Rises was closer. Rises was like 95 minutes, something like that. And Rises gets a lot of flack, and one of the things I love about Rises, like really thinking about analytically now, is we were talking about how in the first half of that film he comes back the first time. He's not really doing it for the right reasons, and I basically said at one point that he's basically bought into because Batman, and that's why he fails in the first half of the movie. And then he learns that kind of everything and goes through his arc, and he comes back
and you get the magic
Batman.
rope.
Because one of the things that I never noticed before when we were talking about it is that his main theme from the previous 2 films never plays in that film until he comes back out of the pit. Up until that point, there's like a new superhero version that's playing throughout the film, but it's almost like that's his ego.
Right.
That's his egotistical version.
Yeah.
It's great.
There are parts of that movie that don't sit well with me, but there's other parts that are up there with moments from The Dark Knight and Batman Begins that I love. You know?
We got into some of the problems in the movie as well.
Of course.
Yeah. But like they're very rich, dense films, and like. Some people like the surface level stuff. They like the suits and the Batmobiles and all that. That's fine. Like that's never really about what's attracted me to the character. It's much more about the determination and the ideology, more than anything else. Which is why when someone like Zack Snyder says, everyone should grow the F up because if you believe Batman doesn't kill, and the rest of that ramble he went on. That Q&A this past
Ramble
week.
is being generous.
Yeah.
Delusional rant would probably be more accurate.
Someone tried to defend it by saying he was only talking to fans of what he does, and that makes it worse to me.
That's called an echo chamber. Don't encourage it.
Well, then he's just leaning into his worst instincts instead of actually trying to be like, no, this is why I chose to do this. He's like, well, no, they just don't get it, right, guys? Like, they're just not getting it.
Yeah,
they're just kids.
The way you said that there was still more eloquent than how he said it. Because honestly, the thing that baffles me about Zack Snyder, right, is his movies
just
are so...
for one thing.
The main thing that baffles me, the biggest thing that baffles me, is that his movies are so surface level, they don't really have any depth to them. People might try and argue that Sucker Punch does. It doesn't. They might try and argue that 300 does. It doesn't. Like... Batman v Superman.
I like 300. It's just a dope action movie.
It's enjoyable. There's no depth to it.
No, there's none.
People like to argue that Batman v Superman has depth. It doesn't. Like it's all faux. It's all face value. It's all just the aura of depth. There's no actual depth there, but it likes to think that it does, right? But what baffles me is that whenever you actually hear him in an interview and someone asks about his movie-making process or the way he thinks about stories and why he makes decisions, he never is able to actually offer a coherent answer or even speak in full proper sentences.
No.
And it baffles me every time I see this. And that rant, that answer to that question this week is like maybe the worst example I've ever seen of it, where I go, how did he even get hired for any movie? Never mind, being given here's the universe of DC characters. Like how? Because he can't communicate directors need to communicate. It's like the most important part of the job.
Yeah, well, and this is where I kind of cast some blame on Nolan, because they tried to do what they did with the Nolan Bat movies, and really ground
You
them.
can't
and try to
blame
make
Nolan
them,
for
quote,
that.
well, hold on. And it was really successful. They thought you could just plug in with Superman, and you can't. You need a completely different approach. So that's how Snyder got hired, right?
How's that Nolan's fault?
Because he made it look easy, and it's not. He's an artist.
That's still not Nolan's
You know what I
fault,
mean?
though. None of this is Nolan's fault.
I-
There's not an ounce of blame on Nolan for that.
He did produce
That's,
it.
no. Do you
Produced Man
blame?
of Steel.
That's like, you're pick a Rolex, right? Okay, and then you've got a knockoff Rolex, and that's really shit, and it dies after 2 weeks
Well-
because you paid $20 for it. And
Wait, is Zack Snyder
do you
fake
blame
Rolex?
Rolex for the fact that this shitty knockoff was crap? No, you don't.
Well, no. All right. So blame's not the right word.
No.
But-
The problem there is that Warner Brothers didn't understand why they were, well regarded. It just tried to do a plug-in job, as you say,
Right.
and it's tried to do that with a lot of the movies since then. But like, it just like the reason why we're talking about the movies, because obviously this is a comic book podcast, and I don't want to just dive into movie talk, but the reason why we're talking about the movies is because that's the playing field where this debate is kind of raged the most in the last few years, because we've had these different versions, and because I'll say it, Zack Snyder screwed it up so badly, and not just Batman, he screwed up Superman as well. He screwed up Lex Luthor.
I would
screwed up a lot
argue
of
he screwed
characters,
up
but
Batman worse than Superman.
that's saying
you know?
something.
Yeah, and that's coming from me, right? Because at least Man of Steel is 2/3 of a good movie. It's not a great Superman movie, but compared to Batman versus Superman and
It's
even
coherent.
Justice League,
Right?
yeah,
Cause
and I laugh at all these guys that talk about Justice League as, oh, well, they ruined what Zack was going to do. Well, no, Whedon came in and kind of saved Snyder, right? If he ever
Saved
gets
being generous. It was still a
well,
mess.
I'm just saying, like, when you read what Snyder's plan was and how completely different it is from everything, that we enjoy as fans, I look back to Justice League and I've seen Shazam, right? I did an early showing. You guys will get to see it
Shut up.
when it comes out, and I can just tell you, it's a step in the right direction. Like,
So, are you saying you want to see the Snyder Cut?
no, because there's no Snyder cut. That's another thing that got lost in this.
Yeah,
that-
Snyder's claiming there is now, bizarrely, but
Well, he's
he's
well,
stoking the fire. I don't know why.
cocaine's a hell of a drug.
I don't know why he's
I'm
been
not-
so vocal this week, but for some reason he is. It baffles me. That movie's like the angriest I've ever been leaving a theater. I was just upset.
I didn't. If you guys go back and watch that review, I talk at length about how I couldn't remember if I left my garage door open and was considering leaving and coming back to make sure I hadn't.
There was a pre-review chat on that one from me and Pete, because we got out that. We went to midnight showings, so we got
Same time, yeah.
It was about 3-4 in the morning. It was like, oh, we are angry. We need to get this out of our systems right now.
And what frustrates me is like people argue, but in the film, Batman's doing the wrong thing. He's not supposed to be doing the right thing. Well, no, I get that, but his motivations seem weird. Here's the thing: I just mentioned Dark Knight Rises. The first half of that film is him doing things for the wrong reasons. That's the whole point of that movie. We've done this already. We've done the arc where he's doing things and making the wrong choices out of ego, but somehow he doesn't turn into this maniacal killer who's killing people left and right. Anyway,
Well, and you want to tie it back to the comics too, is that Snyder casts dispersions on fans like us that want it to be a little bit more true to the comics, because the reason we read these characters is because we want an idyllic kind of hero, right?
And
that
then
does
he
the
just
right
go-
thing.
And then he just points and goes, "It's accurate. Look, there's a Frank Miller comic that did this."
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is the thing. Frank Miller's comic was a goddamn Elseworld. It was meant to be more satirical and separate. And the thing is like, and obviously there's been comic examples of, bad Batman, bad Superman, whatever, right?
We
don't
talked about
always.
some of them this week.
Yeah, not every comic you read with these characters in it is gospel. Some of them are quite bad. But here's the thing, is the reason why I think a lot of fans don't want Batman to kill and don't want Superman to become this edgy character. The reason why we don't do that is because, especially in Batman's case here, is that the fact that he's so he sticks to, for like sorry for the term here, he sticks to his guns so much about not using guns and about not killing is kind of what makes him so interesting as a character.
Yeah.
The second he just becomes the Punisher, everything that's unique about Batman goes out the window. It's not about having the suit in the car. That is not what makes him Batman.
No.
And
I don't think a lot of people understand that.
Yeah.
I think that they just think it's all of those, and at a surface level, because I know plenty of people that don't have issues with Batman vs Superman. When I bring them up, they go, "Oh, well, you're just fanboying." Because I'm like, "Well, no, this is not who this character is." Go back and watch. Even in the Burton movies, people like to throw those up. Oh, Batman's throwing dudes off of rooftops and whatnot. But I still feel that's closer to Batman than what Snyder was gunning for.
There's still less murdering in those.
There's still less. Yeah.
And me and P obviously we talk about those movies. Pete really hates them. I agree. They're not good Batman movies.
Yeah.
But at least they are coherent movies with a style. It's not to everyone's taste, admittedly, but it has a specific style. It's why I said Man of Steel is a mostly decent movie. It's not a good Superman movie, but it's mostly a solid movie. And then you get to BVS, and it's just a mess. Like it's not even a competently made movie. It's something that I would expect students to do better.
Yeah.
It's even before you get to the character things, because I can excuse poor adaptation if it's at least a good movie.
Right, and this is the main difference too when you talk about the MCU and them taking their time. Right, what's Endgame? Is this movie 22, 23?
22, I think.
Yeah, and we're building up to this big moment. Whereas Batman vs Superman, we had 2 movies, and they're giving us Doomsday, and then in Justice League, what brings them together is Steppenwolf, who most comic fans are like, who's that?
Really? Steppenwolf?
Right.
Steppenwolf.
And it just nothing felt earned.
Everyone's favorite.
In any of those.
Everyone's favorite.
So,
but we're going to stop talking about movies though, because this is too much movie talk. Right, back onto comics.
We're talking Gotham now.
Sucking Gotham. Talk about that animated series if you want.
Almost Got Him is the best episode, and I'll fight anybody else who says different.
I have to rewatch all before I put a.
Not Canon Master of the Phantasm. That's its own thing.
Yeah. I can't be doing that. To me that's kind of what makes Batman special, and to an extent a lot of DC heroes and Superman include this, because Superman is like, why doesn't he change? Well, it's because no, the whole point of Superman is that in the face of cynicism, in the face of jadedness, he remains true to who he is no matter what. He'll still be the Boy Scout, because being good is hard to do. Anyone who says that Superman is not interesting because he's too much of a Boy Scout, and I'm like, wait, you think being that good is easy? You think being that good is not difficult? It is not a challenge to keep that spirit up, even in the face of what everyone's saying about you and like everything else.
Try not to cheat on your diet. It's hard. Now try being an alien with as much power as he has and keeping that responsibility.
Yeah,
that's always
the solution to that is just don't have a diet, and then no responsibility.
Well, we know who the Brightburn character is, Pete.
Yes. Connor.
Should not be surprised.
The ginger. But that's the thing. So Batman, like, it has to stick to those elements, and you could do Elseworlds and whatever. But it does feel like sometimes writers are obsessed with like giving them loopholes or like bending the rules as much as they possibly can, because for some reason they can't just stick to it.
Look at what Morrison did in Final Crisis. He let Batman fire a gun, but it was the state, or it was the fate of the multiverse was at hand.
Yeah,
that was the
such
one
a
time.
Specific.
Yeah, that's the one time Bruce would allow himself to use the gun, so it means everything.
Yeah. It's not to say you can never break rules, right? You can break these rules on occasion, very rare occasion.
But they have to mean it.
And it has to be justified. Okay, the end of the multiverse is a pretty damn good excuse.
Yeah.
But they can't do it again. If they do it a second time, I'm like, no, they've already done this.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah. There's a limit to these things. You can't just keep doing them.
And that's why something like in the, what was that story with Mr. Freeze in the courtroom?
Oh, Cold Days.
In Cold Days, where the reason that he's jury tampering, right, which is against the law, seemingly against what Batman would be for, but because he felt he went too far in beating a confession out of Mr. Freeze.
Yeah,
He wants to fix it.
he's trying to balance back out because he went too far in the
Right.
first place. Yeah, he's trying to
Right.
rebalance things.
And that's the other
Um,
thing. Sure, he broke a rule because he was angry about things, but now he's going to try to fix it again by breaking another rule. So this doesn't mean like he's always this perfect guy, you know. As long as he learns from that moment, it's fine.
Well, the concept of Batman is essentially that he has to break the rules to get the job done because the system is broken. So, it's one of the things we brought up when we're talking about the movies is the idea of Batman existing is an admission that the world needs Batman to exist, and therefore it's not working, right? So there's that kind of paradox there. But you get into ideology. You get the reason why the Joker's one of the best villains I think ever is because he's just this ideological opposition to Batman in every sense of the word.
It's an agent of chaos.
He's an agent of chaos. There you go.
God, that Heath Ledger still gives me the creeps.
We're not talking about movies, Matt. Stop it.
No, I know, but still, like that's my best version of Joker. Well, that and Mark Hamill. So I still read Mark Hamill's voice when I read Joker. So.
Yeah, and I mean that's the other thing we have to mention is the Rogues Gallery. I mean, I think the two other things Batman has is one of the best families in comics. You got Dick Grayson, you got Tim Drake, you got Barbara Gordon, you got Stephanie Brown, you got all these characters, fantastic characters, and then you got the Rogues Gallery, which you ask an average Joe to name 5 Spider-Man villains, they'll probably struggle. You ask them to name 5 Batman villains, they'll probably give you 10.
They'll nail it. Yeah.
They'll probably give you 10.
Yeah. Well, again, that's them being a pop culture. Like we had Frank Gorshin as Riddler in the '60s.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because at this point,
so
you've got old people who grew up with that. You've got people who our age who grew up with Batman the animated series. You get people who've been seeing the movies. It's funny because I think at this point, like Bane's like one of the A-listers now, and I don't think he was when he was in Batman and Robin, but he is now.
No, but that really wasn't Bane in Batman and Robin.
No, but it was it was the start of a seed, right? Now there's been 2 appearances that people are like, okay, I know who Bane is.
Yeah. Ra's al Ghul's kind of getting up there. Like, sure, he's not been in a second movie yet, but he was in a movie. He showed up in the video games. He's been in the animated series. Like, it gets to a point where it's like, okay, he's starting to feel like he's got a presence now.
I mean, big ones who have been in just like movies and TV. You've got, the most notable one is Joker. Poison Ivy is probably one of the most.
Yeah, Two-Face, Riddler,
Two-Face,
Penguin, Mr. Freeze. Scarecrow's probably not quite at the same level as those bunch, but getting close.
It's getting there, yeah. I don't know if we said Bane yet.
That's a Bane,
in this list. That's like 7 right there.
Killer Croc was in a non-Batman movie.
That's true.
He's in Suicide Squad. Let's not forget. I mean, it's easy to forget that movie, and you should. But
that said, though,
Killer Croc was there.
Would your average Joe has seen that actually even like? I know there's a scene in the movie I think where he catches them, but if you said, "Oh, Killer Croc," whose villain is that? They'll be like, I don't know.
No, probably not. But I mean, the point we got 7 or 8 there, like really easily that I would expect pretty much anyone on the street to be able to.
Where is Superman has Lex Luthor and Zod?
And even Zod, not everyone I think would get.
Brainiac, Metallo.
No. It's not who he's got in the comics, Matt. This is what average people would be able to name.
Movies. Gotcha.
Well, not necessarily, just not specifically for movies, but just if you asked an average person, who would they be able to name Superman? They'd say Lex Luthor, they might say Zod, and that's about it. They wouldn't even. Most people wouldn't even know Brainiac.
Oh, I wish I could call my wife up and ask her right now.
I honestly think you're overestimating. I think most people
would
give you Luthor, and that's it.
Very possibly. Yeah.
Maybe Doomsday, because that's pretty big. People do know.
I don't know.
I don't
know.
It's tough.
So let's remove Joker, and I'll remove Ivy because we all know my infatuation. So who's your favorite rogue or Bat villain? Arkham mainstay.
Joe, I'm pretty sure I did a top 5 on Twitter like a year ago, and it took me a long time to sit down and work it out. And I'm sitting here going, I don't know.
Can I still say Ivy?
No.
Yeah. I was removing.
Ivy's his favorite as well, so yeah, root for him. Make it more interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I feel like Bane's risen through the ranks a lot over my time reading comics. Like I feel like.
Bane, when he's interesting, is great.
Yeah. Mr. Freeze is pretty great. James Gordon Jr. is a favorite.
Yeah. Two-Face, bar none. He's right behind Ivy.
Yeah, Two-Face.
I like the Bat villains that could have been heroes. And those two right there, you have Harvey Dent, you have Dr. Isley. They have noble intentions, and then because Gotham's gonna Gotham, they get all twisted. And I love Roz, or Raish, however you want to pronounce it. He's so cool.
Raz.
He's
I
Liam
might go with
Neeson's.
Ray.
Yeah.
He is the I used to talk about Joker being the opposite
Mhm.
of Batman. Raish is kind of a Batman to the extreme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the inverse.
Yeah, he's taking Batman to an extreme conclusion. Essentially, is what he's doing.
Yeah. Yeah, because people forget that Roz's mission is to cleanse the world so it can be more, hospitable. He actually has noble intentions there. He's just going to use his League of Assassins and kill everybody.
Yeah. And again, the idea of immortality, for Batman, it's about the symbol and the legs he wears. It got more literal.
Ross is like,
yeah,
nah, man, I've been here forever.
Yeah,
literally.
As you do. As you do.
Yeah.
I also have to mention Alfred because he's important.
Yes, Alfred G.
Yeah.
And then we all have our favorite. I'm pretty sure it lines up. Our favorite Bat family member is Nightwing. Or is Pete gonna go Batgirl?
Nah, it's probably Dick, but I love so many of it. Like Dick, Babs, Cass, and Stephanie. They're all pretty close, and then you get Damien, and Kate and Tim.
Tim's the best Robin.
Yeah, I've said before, Dick is the best Bat family member, but Tim is the best Robin.
Yeah, I agree there. I also love Gordon. Gordon gets slept on a lot. I love Jim Gordon. That dude.
Hey, one of the worst things about those first 4 movies is that Gordon's just this fat guy who points and says, "Go Batman, go!" No. Gordon's an integral character of the Batman mythos.
I mean, the fact that we have a James Gordon TV show in Gotham, that's how they pitched it. That's so weird.
Oh, jeez, that stupid show.
I know it's a stupid show, but it's amazing to me.
Well, we're getting Pennyworth soon.
And I was like, nah, man, I can't do this.
Yeah, we're getting Pennyworth soon.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm gonna watch the hell out of that.
Young Martha Kane, young Thomas Wayne, alternate reality England in the 60s. I don't know, it's this weird show.
I'm gonna watch it.
It's gonna be something.
I don't know, it's weird. No, I'll be getting Batwoman as a TV show as well, actually. That's worth mentioning.
Most likely.
Most likely. It's CW, they're going to greenlight it.
Barring something going catastrophically wrong, yeah, they're going to greenlight it.
Like alcohol spilling on a keyboard.
But barring them watching the pilot and then wait, you cast Tommy Wiseau as your villain? Wait, what? Why did you do that? Sorry, no pickup for you.
Wait, for real?
No. No.
You nearly got Mike really excited.
You really did, because I could see that.
Hi, Batwoman.
Oh, hi, Kate.
Oh, dear. But yeah, one of the Trinity.
Give me Tommy Wiseau as Mixie Pedalic. Just make it happen.
Do you know what's a shame? It's a shame we're not going to get a 1000th issue for for Wonder Woman anytime soon, because there should be.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll get something when it's, her 80th in a couple of years. We'll get a special issue of something or other.
Yeah. Going through my comics for WonderCon, I did find my issue of Wonder Woman 600. They made a pretty big deal about that, so...
For half a second, I thought you were going to say issue 8. And I was like, what are you doing?
Issue 8.
Yeah.
I really thought...
Has she hit 700 yet? Or was 600 her big milestone? She hit 7?
Is that 7?
Not that long ago, I don't think.
Okay.
Did she maybe even... She didn't hit 800 now. She's on 700. Batman and Superman are on 800.
Yes.
Flash and Wonder Woman are on 700.
Yeah.
Yeah.
700
was October 17.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not 800 yet.
No,
No.
definitely not.
No.
Although 800 might line up with our 80th, give or take.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's possible.
But yeah, no, this is probably the last milestone we're gonna do for a while. I mean, we'll do specials, but like,
Yeah, specials when they're called for. I think Doomsday Clock issue 12 seems like the next thing we'll probably do an individual episode for, because it feels like that's going to be big enough that, and because given how long we talk about those issues anyway.
Do we want to make predictions of when that'll be?
a year
Now,
from
the
today.
next time we'll do one of
Yeah.
these specials.
A year
Shut
from
up.
today.
No, I
It'll
mean,
be an annual tradition.
Issue 10 is the first week of May right now. I think it'll move essentially, because here's what I think. I think it'll actually stick to one every other month. But the problem is there's not accounting for the fact that it delayed one a while ago, so they keep like gradually moving the next one back until it's 2 months later. So I honestly think that issue 10 will come out on the second or third week of May, and then the one that's supposed to be out in the end of May will be the second or third week of July, and then 12 will be the second or third week of September. That's my guess.
All right, I'm going with November. I'm calling it around 2 years.
I'll say
3 years.
September.
However long it's been. What?
September for me. For issue
I'll
12.
go October.
Matt's going October. Matt's going to take this because he's been a dick and going right in between us.
Yeah.
I did that because that's my birthday month, and I would love nothing more than an issue of Doomsday Clock for my
Joe's so
birthday.
funny though. There's going to be a time when it's scheduled for September, and it'll get pushed back a week, and I'll be, oh god, move again, don't move again, and then it'll move
And
into
then I'm
October.
just gonna go, keep going, keep slipping, keep slipping.
Where's it going to land? Where's it going to land? Oh dear. Why do you like Batman, folks? This is what we want you to tell us. in the
Yeah, let
comments.
us know.
What do you like about Batman? Then check out me and Connor's Batman movie reviews, because they're actually very long and I think interesting conversations with some good debates in them. Well, the Nolan ones are. The first 4 is me screaming in pain and
And me go, but penguin bombers.
yeah.
Now I'm not gonna. I kind of like Batman Forever. So I'm with the James group on that one.
It's boiling acid.
It's so. Yeah, we got Robin though, and I was stoked.
He
And
acts
they
more like
said-
Jason Todd in that movie though, Matt. See if you watch it again.
I don't want to.
Don't ruin your night, Matt.
I don't want to ruin my childhood, man.
Some
Kiss
illogical
from a Rose is my jam.
plot
That's a
points as
great
well.
tune.
First CD I ever bought, the Batman Forever soundtrack.
I wouldn't admit to that.
There are worse CDs that you could have bought.
Yeah, dude, I was a kid. I was I think 3rd, 4th grade. You know, CDs were like $25 because it's the 90s.
There are worse things you could have got.
Yeah, true.
Cat, what are you doing? Don't lie there.
Well,
Causing chaos.
let's make a Batman exit on this, and everyone just get up and walk away.
No, if the seas walk away, it's not a Batman exit. I have to do a
That's
jump
true.
cut to his all just not being here.
Hey, what's that?
Everyone just look away for a minute. Pretend nothing's happening.
All right, let me get a screenshot up from one of our other reviews for a second, and then while I've got that up, we can all just leave, and then I'll click away, and there you go, boom, we're all gone. We vanished. There's a puff of smoke. But no, that's been our Detective Comics 1000 special. You can let us know what you thought of Detective 1000 in the comments. If this is the first time you've ever found us, and you may have thought we were too negative on this issue, we're actually quite positive on a lot of things. But our regular episodes every week where we talk about the newest DC books. Obviously, this weekend we'll be talking about this week's regular books. And we do that every week, so check out that, and you can support us over at patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. If you want to support us over there, you can do it for as little as $1 per month. At the $5 tier, you get access to a bonus monthly episode about a trade or a collection that me and Connor do, and you can have a look at that. We mentioned earlier the TV stuff. We do a podcast called Television from the Multiverse, where we do the DC TV shows and we talk about them every week. So go check out all that stuff. Get us on Twitter at DC Comics Podcast. And yeah, by all means, in the comments on Twitter, whatever, let us know what you like about Batman and celebrate and join in the festivities. And hopefully we'll see you around for more episodes. So thank you very much, guys, for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep reading comics. And always remember to never get lost in the Speed Force.
And join us next time. Same bat time, same bat channel.